Hello, wine o'clockers. Hello, coffee moaners. How are we this Friday evening? How art thou all? Can anyone guess what I am drinking in my It's What I'd Like It to Be? It's What I'd Like to Be cup. Morning, evening. Oh, look, it still says coffee moaning and it's actually wine o'clock. I'm not drinking wine, I promise you. Evening, everyone. Evening, Edward, Steph, Sonia, Donovan. I had a predictive moment this morning, had an awful lot of editing to do today. And I thought there are a number of stories I can feel just developing and just cooking and just kind of, just percolating in the background. And then, of course, there were some pretty horrendous stories, such as the Israeli one, the Flotilla one, which had happened this morning. But I think I was right. We've got Prince Harry. Prince Harry suddenly spilling his guts about the royal family and reconciliation, and got Kanye declaring he's gay. But given everything that's come out of Kanye's mouth, I don't necessarily we can consider it to be a declaration of his or coming out necessarily of his gayness. Russell Brand arriving at court to face his charges and get bailed. Oh, there's just so much. And Reformageddon. What Armageddon? Reformageddon. It's a revolution. It's a reformation. Anyway, did anyone hear? Look, you're not going to be chased out of the room. It's not that kind of environment. We politically don't share the same opinions, but we like a good conversation. Anyone here vote reform? I know a lot of people get really funny about that, don't they? It's really odd. It's like if you ask a woman their age, suddenly every woman I know goes, did ask a woman my age. And then if you say to anyone, what did I vote? Go, this is for me to know, you to find out. Well, I'm never going to find out, not unless I kidnap you and torture you. Oh, God. So basically what we're faced with is Nigel Farage, if he can translate the victory that he's secured in the mayoral election in Lincolnshire, the by-election, albeit he only won by 6, but he overturned a 14,500 majority. If he can translate that to the nation wide, Reform are going to have a majority in the House of Commons. She's out socialising, Steph. She's on a jolly. She's actually with some of her activist friends tonight, so she's out and about. But yes, it's a. Do you get me? I mean, so I'm slightly concerned. Would anyone here leave the country if Reform became the government of the nation? I'd be hard pushed. I think I would entertain it. I mean, I know Reform speaks for a lot of people. I know Reform. A lot of people who support Reform seem to get very sort of knickers in a twist, like I do about Tarquins. They seem to think that anyone who's not for Reform must be some kind of privileged wank stain who just doesn't really understand the reality of living, which just isn't true. I'd consider it, says Joe Potter. I genuinely think about it, says Dawny Harvey. I don't think I would, says Jordan O'Sullivan. I would like to leave if they get in. Yeah. Everything worries me massively. If you look at America, if you look here, oh, hang on, Buckingham Palace have released a statement. Oh my God, this is breaking news. Well, we're going to talk about the incredibly important Israeli attack on the flotilla, the aid flotilla, in 2 ticks. But this is literally breaking news. Breaking news, Buckingham Palace have responded to Prince Harry's broadside. Well, in case you don't know what Prince Harry's broadside was, I'm going to play you some excerpts from an interview he's given to the BBC. Now, it's important to stress that today he lost his legal battle over receiving taxpayer-funded police bodyguards, which has now put him on the hook for £1.5 million in legal costs. He lost the case. And following this, he gave an interview to the BBC. I don't know if anyone has actually seen it. And, this is a big story. I mean, I know a lot of people aren't interested in the royals, but this is a breaking story. And so let's just have a quick listen to what Prince Harry had to say in that interview.
A world in which I would be bringing my wife and children back to the UK at this point, and the things that they're going to miss is, well, everything. You know, I love my country. I always have done, despite what some people in that country have done. So, you know, I miss the UK. I miss parts of the UK, of course I do. And I think that it's really quite sad that I won't be able to show, you know, my children my homeland. There is a lot of control and ability in my father's hands. Ultimately, this whole thing could be resolved through him, not necessarily by intervening, but by stepping aside, allowing the experts to do what is necessary and to carry out an RMB. That said, there is this all was initiated under a previous government. There is now a new government. I have had it described to me, once people knew about the facts, that this is an good old-fashioned establishment stitch-up, and that's what it feels like. There have been so many disagreements, differences between me and some of my family. This current situation that has been ongoing for 5 years with regard to human life and safety is the sticking point. It is the only thing that's left. Of course, some members of my family will never forgive me for writing a book. Of course, they will never forgive me for lots of things. But, you know, there is. I would love reconciliation with my family. There's no point in continuing to fight anymore. As I said, life is precious. I don't know how much longer my father has. You know, he won't speak to me because of this security stuff. But it would be nice to reconcile. As I learned through the First Nations throughout Canada, because of the Invictus Games, their goal in life was always truth and reconciliation. And I turned around to them in many conversations and I said, right, but reconciliation can't come without truth. Well, I've now found out the truth. I've shared some of it with you today. A lot of it exists out there, whether people choose to ignore it or not. You know, so it would be nice to have that reconciliation part now. If they don't want that, that's entirely up to them.
You know what? I mean, that's the second time I've watched it in full. It's an incredibly confusing and confused interview. I mean, we're not getting into whether we like or don't like Harry, whether he should or shouldn't. It's very confusing. Why would him losing his legal case to maintain security personnel, why would that be the trigger for him conducting an interview and saying he wants reconciliation? And then him saying, as this kind of case has revealed, it's revealed who's in control of that. I mean, basically what he's saying is it's his dad that's put the block in place. And he even infers within it that perhaps King Charles is even iller than perhaps we all at first thought. For him to say he must have someone on the inside giving him the kind of, you know, the inside narrative when he says, you know, I don't know how long my father has got. I mean, I can't help but feel that even if there is it's a well-intentioned interview where he's kind of, is he calling out for daddy? Is it a sort of daddy reach out to me? Because if it is, he's kind of almost revealed too much and compromised, much in the same way that he did with his book that annoyed people. I can't help but feel this will just annoy people even more. Won't this just drive a bigger wedge? I bet you're all itching to know what the palace said. Well, the palace was remarkably sort of obtuse about the whole thing. Replying to the claims, a palace spokesperson said, all of these issues have been examined repeatedly and meticulously by the courts, with the same conclusion reached on each occasion. I think what's most telling about that incredibly unemotional response from the palace is how cold as ice it is as a statement. I mean, all of these issues, I mean, it's like it's a legal response from his family. So I don't think there's any potential really for reconciliation here. Or, I mean, lots of other thoughts came sort of ricocheting through my mind with this. Are him and Meghan going through a bit of trouble? And so he's decided to reach out, or he's decided to poke his head above the parapet. Hi, have a good one, Lee. Don't take your clothes off tomorrow. I saw your comment. My dad wouldn't be very happy if I told the whole world he might not have long to live and he's not king. Yeah, it's a curious one, isn't it? Anyway, so the Sun is reporting that there are sort of 10 bombshells in this BBC interview. And what are those bombshells? Well, we've heard most of them. A, the idea that he wants reconciliation. Maybe it can be achieved with his dad, but not with his brother. Feeling let down by the UK. He felt let down by the country. He described the defeat, was described as a good old-fashioned establishment stitch-up. No more UK. He faces. He doesn't believe he can safely visit the family or bring the family to the UK. He felt like he'd been singled out and treated unfairly by the royal family. He's had no contact with the king. He sort of suggested that perhaps he'd asked his father to step in and resolve this. He said he sort of asked his father to step out of the way and let the experts do their jobs. It's just, I just find it really weird. I just find it really, I just don't, of all the things that you would try and do if you were genuinely wanting some kind of reconciliation, this wouldn't be it. So again, it strikes me that royals kind of make the wrong choices at the wrong times about talking to the press. So I don't necessarily think he should have done. But anyway, see you later, Lee. Don't get naked in the garden. It's naked gardening day tomorrow, apparently. And don't worry, I won't be inflicting that on the hydrangeas. Moving towards a much more serious story. In the title, Israel attacks aid flotilla. This is just, yet again, just more shocking, outrageous overreach from Netanyahu's Israel as they sought to, well, as two drones essentially hit the engine end of a boat destined for Gaza in order to break the siege. I mean, what people don't seem to understand is there has now been a 2-month complete stop on all provisions, which is illegal, which is an act of genocide, which is a breaking of international humanitarian law. And so some aid workers have sought to try and get some in any which way they can. The aid flotilla, so Freedom Flotilla, the Freedom Flotilla Coalition have claimed that this morning, I think really early this morning, midnight, at Maltese time, just off the coast of Malta, Israel attacked one of their unarmed civilian vessels in international waters. It was carrying a humanitarian aid to Gaza, and it was bombed by had two bombs landed on it from drones, and it was disabled whilst in international waters. This is yet another. This is just absolutely staggering. And what's more staggering is we still haven't heard a fucking word from our government. I mean, all this idea of, well, wait until we know. And what do we all have to? Here's the thing. We've got this curious situation where Israel have refused to comment on the incident. So will the West only condemn Israel for attacking an aid boat if Israel goes, yeah, we did it? Because it's very unlikely they will. But it can't be anyone else. It can't be anyone else. And I just want to walk you through. This is a really useful carousel post on Instagram by an organization called News Cord. They do a really good job of what we kind of did the other day, which is like a step through some of the manipulation in the press coverage around these things. And so News Corp had a look at this. Israeli, and they've just sort of unpacked the way in which this story has been reported. The Israeli media initially named Israel as the attacker, but swiftly removed the attribution from their headlines. Before, it said, report Israel attacked a ship in Malta, which was trying to bring aid to Gaza. This was then corrected to a report that says a ship in Malta was attacked while trying to bring aid to Gaza. You can already imagine the potential excuse that that will be used. You know, a rogue Houthi missile or something like that. That's what's going to be suggested. Pushing on for the News Corp says, so far only, and this was early this morning, only a handful of mainstream outlets reported the attack, and only France 24 names the attacker. The BBC, it points out, which had the headline, Gaza activist ship attacked by drones off coast of Malta, misleadingly labels it as an activist ship instead of an aid ship. This is where the choice of language is so important. CNN says aid ship bound for Gaza issued SOS after alleged drone attack off the coast of Malta. And France 24 says Israeli drones hit Gaza and flotilla in international waters. You know, CNN and BBC refuse to identify the attacker, though France 24 does. Reuters and ABC use the same misleading tactic, calling them activists rather than aid workers or aid providers, and they omit the flotilla's identification of Israel as the attacker. Reuters reported activist aid ship hit by drones on way to Gaza. It speaks to this remarkable situation where anything that kills a Palestinian or an aid worker or a medic or a paramedic or whatever, anyone doing anything, or the World Health Kitchen, it accidentally happens to them. It's like they just happen to die. They just happen to die. They happen to get hit. But whenever Israel is hit or Ukraine is hit, the press is very speedy in saying who hit it. It's quite remarkable, quite remarkable. Israeli media had been reporting, and this is just prior to the impact, prior to the attack, the Israeli media had been reporting on threats by the Defense Minister Israel Katz that if aid arrived, listen to this, this is what Israel Katz was saying, they would use the same ships to expel Palestinians. So that proves that the flotilla was on their radar as it threatened their mission to starve Gaza. Israel Katz said, if a protest flotilla reaches the shores of the Gaza Strip, we will exchange the protesters with Gazans who want to leave there. I mean, acknowledging the locked offness and the isolation of everyone in Gaza. I mean, the fact that there has to be a flotilla at all, and yet, as many observers have said, suddenly every country, 6 or 7 countries, can suddenly send water to Israel to put out the fires, the wildfires. Incidentally, wildfires that have come about due to Israel destroying the land, cutting down and destroying olive trees that have grown there for centuries, supplanting, more European-style trees in areas of the arid land in Israel to make it more European-like, less Arab. And so wildfires have ignited, but countries have gone to their aid with water whilst there is a complete siege and a famine happening in the Gaza Strip. They can't send water. And if someone, a ship, dares to try, like back in 2010, a Turkish ship with aid workers was attacked by the Israelis and 12 people died. The Israeli government, the IDF, are not at all afraid to shoot and kill any humanitarian aid workers. And this is proof, yet again, nothing from our government, nothing from the spineless Starmer, who rightly is having his nose thumped in the election. But good God Almighty, we know now Nigel Farage isn't going to say anything positive for the Palestinians. Oh, it's just infuriating. Danny fucking Price, another brilliant Instagram account you should follow. He posted this, a message for the 8 countries sending water into Israel following wildfires. How about sending some water to the almost 2 million Palestinians that are literally starving to death in Gaza? Plain and simple. There's water to send to Israel to put out fires that have been aggravated and encouraged by Israel's decimation of the land, but there's no water to be had for the Gazans. I mean, I'm waiting to wake up from this really quite sickening horror story. And I hate to say it, I am getting to the point now where if you come across this news and it doesn't affect you, you are heartless. You know, if all you're thinking about is, well, it doesn't really affect the price of tomato. If this can happen here, just bear this in mind. There's currently the potential for a massive conflict between, I'm leaping continent here, a possible conflict between India and Pakistan. And Indian officials are using this language to justify the possible killing of Kashmiris in a disputed area of land between the two countries. And they're using language like this. If Israel can do it, so can we. This is what happens. If one country is allowed to do this, many other countries will be. And what we've had proven is that when Russia does it, we're fast as hell to get in line and do something about it. But if it's people of color, or if it's people that are potentially a bit not too happy about the way Israel's been behaving, it's not the same. I just think this is shocking. I just think with each news story, I think, how can there be another more depressing indictment of just this? I mean, what is Starmer doing today? Has anyone briefed him on this? Is he? I want to know. The first interview he does somewhere, a fucking journalist worth their salt should say to him, right, forget whether you're here to promote a factory that prints that makes boots. So he's wearing a stupid fucking hard hat on and looking, change, we're bringing change. Fuck all that shit. What do you know about the flotilla that's been hit? What questions have you asked of the Israeli ambassador? What have you asked of Netanyahu's government? Nothing. None of our journalists asking anything. And it's not yet as if he would care, Lisa Lewis, but he should be challenged. No appetite. I tell you what, journalism in this country is absolutely shocking. It is shocking. It's self-serving. It's jaundiced. Most of the right-wing press is of the opinion that, you know, Israel is you know, never at fault. Most of the papers are encouraging a narrative where anyone who is Muslim must inherently be a terrorist. How are these Labour government ministers living with themselves? They must be surrounded by aides and people. Well, in fact, this is what happens. You only have to watch the thick of it. You only have to watch, you know. They will have all their kind of aides and assistants will be around them, putting the pieces of paper in front of them of what's important to be looked at and done. And unfortunately, it's the aides and the assistants around them who are actually the ones in control, because they're controlling what news our ministers receive. That's why it's then the responsibility of journalists to not just ask MPs questions about prescribed subject matters, like Angela Rayner's turning up somewhere and she's going to talk about dishes. Well, no, we're not going to talk about dishes, Angela Rayner. Sorry, we're going to talk about something else. It's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. This is footage from the actual ship just shortly after impact.
We have been attacked. Just a few minutes back, some drones attacked the conscience. We are asking emergency relief to the Maltese authorities.
You got bombed.
You
You got bombed. 14 miles far from Maltese port. I don't know what to say. We got bombed. You see the holes over here? Oh my god. Oh my god. The fire is still going on. The fire is still going on over here. I don't know what we're gonna do. The conscience has been...
So Israel has attacked a ship essentially just south of Italy because they were going to set off to bring aid to a population that is starving and experiencing famine. Meanwhile, countless European countries fly water over fires in Israel. It is the most shocking contrast. It's the most shocking juxtaposition you could hope to see, hear, or experience. And I'm sorry, we're all sickened, but not enough people are sickened by this. Not enough people are sharing stories or contacting the authorities. It's just absolutely horrendous. I think in the end, the Maltese government sent a ship to put the fire out. It's just so, the juxtaposition is just so depressing. And then you see, and it's within this context that, you know, you think, oh God, where's their hope? Where is their hope? And then you see reform winning. And, you know, I'm sorry, even if you're hard, you know, you're pissed off with migration, you're pissed off with immigrants, you're and you're supporting reform, there must be some part of even people voting reform who go, they're not very warm people, are they? They're not a very empathetic party. But I thought Labour were empathetic. Where the fuck is the Labour Party's empathy? Gone. I tell you what, guys, I hate to do these sort of Nostradamus-like predictions. We are on a very slippery slope where it's going to be a case of look after yourselves, matey flips, because it's just going to get, it feels like we're in an increasingly barbaric age. You know, with the loss of empathy comes a barbarianism, a barbarism. I don't know what it, you know, if you lose empathy, the game's over. The game is over. And I see less and less of it in governance. I see, and where I see it in opposition or in unity or in activism, all I see is those in control trying to characterize it as hate. It's all so fucked up. And it can only end badly. Because what will Labour do off the back of the reform win? They will lurch towards making some kind of promise that's more like reform. That's not what being a political party is about. There are so many people in this country who feel politically lost because all of the parties are chasing the same fucking thing. Oh, migration. You ain't going to solve migration until you end the vestiges of imperialism and exploitation of the rest of the world. I mean, it's not fucking rocket science. Oh. Meanwhile, Russell Brand thinks he's Jesus as he arrives at court today. I don't think he's actually walking. I think he's actually hovering. It's wonder what he's thinking as he walks into court. Is the news that Russell Brand obviously has been brought over. He's facing charges. He had his charges read to him. He was given bail. He was released on bail by Westminster magistrates. Told he faces an Old Bailey trial on 5 charges. So I mean it's going to be a hell of a trial. During a brief hearing at Westminster Magistrates Court on Friday, he was told he faced a trial at the Old Bailey. Brand was charged by post last month. On Friday, he appeared in court. He said nothing. The presenter, I think one of the cases was a woman that he met and allegedly raped during the Labour Party conference. Someone else he forced to have oral sex with him. These are the charges. I think in Soho. Someone else he groped and abused. And I forget who the fourth and fifth. I think that might have been two other charges from the same woman. But I mean, that's going to be a hell of a court case, as Russell Brand goes there. And also, finally, Kanye. Kanye has posted yet more erratic content. I'm going to play it to you. It's distressing. It's strange. It's odd. I think it's a bit of a leap to say that he's come out as gay, which is what the Daily Mail is reporting. Kanye comes out as gay. I don't necessarily know if that's the case. Have a look at this. Tell me what you think.
And I'm not here to be your idol. I'm the leader. I'm not here to be worshipped. And as a leader, I'm saying, how am I supposed to lead y'all if I don't got my kids with me to continue what we're doing? I ain't got no legacy. So why the fuck you think I'll be spazzing out? Twigs in charge of my legacy. I'm gay. Twigs in charge of my legacy, and I'm gay.
Twigs is in charge of my legacy, and I'm gay. The part of this whole film that I find really odd, I just want to, is in the background, there's a poor chap trying to just sort out his desktop. He's sorting out a spreadsheet. He's perhaps booking a weekend away, and he's not saying, is he saying he's gay? I'm yay. Yeah, I'm gay, and I'm gay. I'm yay. Is that what you're saying? Let's have a listen.
Twigs in charge of my legacy. I'm gay. Crazy footage, craziness. Anyway, guys, there you have it. I'm sure there will be more to the Harry story tomorrow morning, Prince Harry. Hopefully, someone in government will have made a statement or challenged Israel in some capacity over hitting the aid flotilla, and maybe that'll be in the papers tomorrow. We do the Saturday papers tomorrow, but we do the Saturday papers online papers. We're not going to be doing the paper papers. Anyway, so we'll see you tomorrow. Obviously, the Curly Cooks is landing as well at 11 o'clock. We'll be happening at 11 o'clock. Otherwise, see you anon, team. Thanks for an evening get together. Bye.